In 2023, over 60% of workers saw their roles restructured or replaced by AI. But for Black Americans over 45, the math is even more urgent. While the racial wealth gap remains virtually unchanged since 1992, the 2025 Retirement Confidence Survey reveals that 44% of Black retirees are forced into early retirement due to health or disability, long before they were financially ready. So if your job is no longer the center of your survival, what is? Today, we aren't just talking about quitting. We're talking about job liberation. We're talking about building a life today that doesn't depend on a system that can replace you with an algorithm tomorrow, right?
We've been talking about this shift for a while now. Not just making money, but building a life that is not dependent on one system, on one country, or on one paycheck.
That's right.
We saw this trend during Biden. Not the crazy Black unemployment rate, but the decline of how much we could buy with the money we were making. We noticed how bought less and less and less. But this, under the orange turd, is ridiculous.
It is. All right. So before we bring on Dr. Kamani, we want to hear from you in the chat. Do you believe your job is secure for the next 5 years? Type secure or not secure. And if you're watching from the future, hey, we hope the future is great. Put in the comments. What do you think? Secure or not secure for the next 5 years? All right. Take down the protective, overly optimistic guardrails, y'all. All right. And be honest with yourself. Then get your questions ready for Dr. Kimani. You ready? All right, we're going to introduce ourselves. Hey, y'all, my name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, travel, and life abroad. We help folks who look like us. We're getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan. We help you get your money straight so that you can retire on time. Or maybe even early.
And abroad ain't bad either.
Abroad ain't bad. Abroad ain't bad. All right. Before we get into it too much, I want to know who's coming to the June meetup. Yes, tickets are still available. The main events are June 15th and June 16th. Okay, June 15th and 16th, but we've got things going on for 7 days, like 3 days before those days, 3 to 4 days after those days. So check it out. The information is in the description below, or you can just go to our website, ourBlackUtopia.com. Also, we have an info session if you are interested in coming. If you happen to be in Portugal during that time anyway, we have an info session coming up. I believe it is next Sunday or the Sunday after that. 1 or 2 weeks. Anyway, you've got to register. So if you get our emails, check your email. Otherwise, go to ourBlackUtopia.com and you can go to the meetup page and sign up. All right. All right. And shout out to our channel members. Okay, sweetie. So what are we talking about today?
So today we're talking about your job isn't to save. And here's what comes next with Dr. Kamani. Today is not one of those theory days.
No, we're not going to get into theory and all of that stuff like we have been over the past couple of weeks, right?
Today, we're talking to someone who is actively thinking about what work looks like in the future, how people can prepare right now, and why so many people feel stuck, and what it actually takes to build a life outside the traditional system. And yes, we're also going to talk about the upcoming Job Liberation Summit, where these conversations go even deeper, y'all.
That's right. But first, if you're new to our channel, you might not know what back in 2018, Rick and I got a wake-up call, y'all. We looked at our money and it looked crazy. We were
crazy.
we were too close to retirement age for it to look that cray-cray. All right. But we did get our financial act together and we went from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth in just a few years. And so y'all, if we can do it, you can do it too. All right. So if that sounds interesting to you, what do we need you to do? We need you to subscribe. Help a brother and sister out. We are on our way to 100,000 subscribers. Also, hit that notification bell twice so that you know every single time that we go live. And smash that like button.
Smash it.
And let the YouTube algorithm know that this is something that needs to be shared with our community. All right, sweetie. So, do you want to introduce Dr. Kamani?
Sure. So, Dr. Kamani is the toxic job liberator for Black women and the co-founder of the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women.
That's right. Hey, Dr. Kamani.
Dr. Kamani.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you.
Can you introduce yourself? Because you can introduce yourself better than we can anytime.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Kimani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I've been licensed for over 20 years. I'm also a toxic job survivor, but I love to introduce myself as a toxic job liberator for Black women. I am also the co-founder with Marissa Price of the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women, which we're going to talk about today a little bit. So the Job Liberation Virtual Summit really helps Black women either who are in toxic jobs or who've been laid off or pushed out or who are concerned about the job market, learn different ways about how to replace their income, whether this might be pivoting to another job or about creating their own business, also about their options for benefits, health insurance, retirement, as well as creating multiple streams of income. So very excited to be here today.
Lovely. I love it. I love it. So everyone in the chat, please say hello to Dr. Kamani. And while you're saying hello to her, we will say hello to you because we've got a new member. Welcome to the Utopian family. We do behind the scenes for about an hour before we go live every single Sunday with every single member who wants to join us. All right. You find that information in the posts on YouTube. And if you are a legend, you can come on the air with us every other Thursday. Come join us. Don't be chicken.
We challenge you to.
Don't be chicken. Hey, Dr. James, good to see you. Abundance Now is in the house. Dr. Sanji, Paul Washington, Bobby,
hey,
all
Bobby.
the folks who are behind the scenes. Hey, Crystal's in the house. Miriam is in the house. Thank you.
Action
VJ. Thank you for helping us out and always being on our team. We love it. Hey, Kimmy, good to see you. A.B. is in the house.
Yes, she is.
Wanda's in the house.
Hey, Wanda.
Carla, Yakota, Valerina, Allison. Good to see you. A Better Life. Sarah, Wanda White. We got a lot of folks. Hey, CK. Hey, Allison CK. Rowe. You guys, thank you, Valerina, so much for joining us. We appreciate you. And you know the drill. You are going to put a Q in front of any questions that you have for us or Dr. Kimani, and we will mark them and answer them. But we've got some questions first. All right. Good. I see everybody saying hello. Good. Thank you. We say hello over here, right? We say hello. And if you're watching from the future, you can go ahead and say hello to Dr. Kamani in the comments as well. We don't read. We don't answer every comment, but we definitely read every comment, y'all. We do. But we get a lot. We be getting a lot of them comments. So sometimes it's hard to answer all of them, but we try to. All right. So, I think I want to start like setting a foundation and a benchmark for where we are, right? Mm-hmm. Because it seems to be, Dr. Kamani, that folks in America seem to still be overly optimistic about the world, their world in America, what America is going to look like, because what it's going to look like is also going to affect what it's going to look like on their jobs, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I want to do a reality check on what are people getting wrong about the future of work right now, right? Mm-hmm. Is this just another tech shift or something fundamentally different?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I think part of it is avoidance, right? So part of what happens is when the world is like chaotic and it's scary, sometimes what people do is they try to focus on what is right in front of them. And so they say, well, my job is secure, my job is safe and I'm just going to focus on that. I'm just going to put my head down and then everything will be okay. And that's not safe for us at all. And so we have to think about what's happening right now and how we're responding. And what's happening for many of us right now, we're in a survival mode right now. And so we're operating in this fight, flight, or freeze response. So I'm going to do a little biological discussion for a moment. If you just bear with me, everybody, okay? So when we think about what we're dealing with right now and just how we function as humans, when we perceive things in the world, we perceive, is this dangerous or is this safe? So right now we're in a very dangerous situation. And so we perceive this and we're like, okay. So I see what's going on right now. I see what's happening in the world. Our amygdala is triggered, right? So our amygdala in the brain perceives what's happening in the world. Is this dangerous, safe? So we go into fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn. Fawn is, I'm just going to make everything okay. I don't want to cause any problems. So at this job, it might be like, I'm just going to put my head down. I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm not going to cause any issues. And if I do that, everything will be okay. I'm going to be the model employee. I'll take extra assignments and I'm going to be good. No, because what we're seeing is jobs are just wiped out like that. And it's not about you per se. It's
Right.
just they will just wipe out a job. They don't really care about you as a person. And so there's nothing that you can do individually that will keep you safe as a person. And so we have to really think about what is it that you need to do in terms of being aware of what is happening and what do you need to do to really prepare yourself for the possibility of what may happen. Now, the hope is it doesn't happen, but what are you doing to prepare yourself? Don't just sit and say, if I just put my head down and if I just work really hard, then nothing will happen. No, that you're just acting like, if I just say no, that's not going to help you. And when you get into that type of response, again, your amygdala is activated, right? Your amygdala takes over and you're not able to access your prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex, that's where you plan, you organize, you judge, okay? What we really want to do as Black people is we want to be able to access that prefrontal cortex. We don't want to always operate in that survival mode. And a lot of us are just operating in that survival mode. Oh my God, I'm just going to freeze, right? Oh my God, I'm just going to fawn. We don't want to do that. So if we just conquer down, I'm just going to stay quiet. I'm not going to do anything. Or this one, I'm not going to exit plan because if I exit plan, that's going to bring something to the universe and then that's going to make something bad happen to me. That's magical thinking. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So we need to be prepared as Black women, as our ancestors said, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So if you see all these things are happening to Black people, particularly Black women, if you see that over 600,000 Black women have been laid off or pushed out, or we need to be prepared. Like, okay, I may be working right now, but at any point, my job might go. So if that does happen, what are my options? There's no harm in us having exit plans because no job at this point is stable.
So basically, what you're saying is those who are at most risk are the people who are unprepared.
Exactly.
People living in la la
Exactly.
land.
Let me just put my head down. Let me just put my head down and I'll just work really hard. No, that's not going to save you. That's not going to save you.
So what do you actually mean by job liberation?
Job liberation, and I'm glad you asked that, right? Because some people think that I'm saying, girl, you don't need to work. Just be out there and just you don't need no job. No, that's not what I'm saying, right? We all need money to survive, okay? What I'm saying, several things. One is I don't want us as Black people to define our worth in terms of a job. So that's the mental liberation right there, okay? So when we think about as Black people that our identity has been fused so much about jobs because of slavery, right? And I have my book here that I read or refer to a lot, post-traumatic slave syndrome, okay? Because our identity has been wrapped up into slavery so much and we've never healed from the ramifications of slavery, okay? So we need to recognize, wait a minute, why is this job so important to me? That's the mental enslavement, okay? So we need to liberate ourselves from that. The mental handcuff, the enslavement part, that's part of the liberation. The other liberation is, okay, like Stephanie Perry said, The job is a means to an end. It's for me to make money. It is not who I am. It is what I do. It is not who I am. That's another form of liberation. And then when you're in a job, recognizing, is this job helping me get my money? And is it helping me get my money, but is it also harming me? Okay, well, if it's harming me, then I need to look at another way, or are there other ways for me to make money without a job harming me? Because not all jobs are toxic. Not all jobs harm you, okay? Because if a job is harming you, that is not the place where you need to be. Now, this is another thing that I hear from a lot of Black people. Well, all jobs are toxic. I might as well stay with the devil I know than the devil I don't know. That is not true. That is not true, okay? Because when we try to stay at these toxic jobs that harm us, toxins are a poison. It is eventually going to harm you physically and or psychologically. So people contact me and say, well, I have to stay at this job because I got to make money. And I say to them, short term, you might need to stay at that job, but let's look at an exit plan so you can pivot out of that job. But that job is not the only place where you can make money. But again, that's the mental handcuffs, right? That's the enslavement that we have to unshackle ourselves from. So there's a lot of mindset shifts that we need to do. But as Black people, we have so many transferable skills, so many transferable skills. So we have to recognize that. And then if there's been a layoff, well, we have to recognize that even though we've been laid off, to not personalize that, to not personalize that. That was a systemic issue more than likely, and not say, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I'm at less than. Look at, that was a systemic issue. Okay, what are the transferable skills that I have? What were all the things that I did at that job? Take an inventory of all your skills and talents and look at what are the other ways that you can utilize that somewhere else. Think about all the connections that you've made in relation to that job and start looking at where the connections that you can follow up on. The other thing in terms of liberation is let us stop tethering our whole financial identity or our future or our stability on one job. Let's not do that, okay?
Yes.
Let us create multiple streams of income, because when that one job goes, now you're really messed up, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about at the summit, is creating multiple streams of income. So the Job Liberation Summit is not just like, girl, leave that job. No, the Job Liberation Summit is about looking at the mindset issues, but also looking at how do we come up with, right? How do we teach you about pivoting? How do we teach you about turning down that survival brain and accessing your prefrontal cortex so you can plan, you can organize, you can utilize your judgment so you can come up with concrete plans about how you're going to replace your income, what to do about your benefits, your health insurance, your retirement, and how to create multiple streams of income. Because when you're in a toxic job, that is often what keeps you at a toxic job, is the finances and your benefits. And Marissa and I, both toxic job survivors, and we were like, okay, so if we would have had a resource, this is what would have helped us. And so that is what we did, okay? And so that is what job liberation is.
That's right. That's right. And it's not, y'all, it's not just the amount of money that you make, right? It's also the amount of money that you spend. So after you go to the Job Liberation Summit, then you need to join Beyond the Bling so you can figure out what you're going to do with all this money you now making. All right. That's what you need to do. So we got to give a shout out to Kenneth. Thank you for the super sticker, because y'all know every single penny that that is donated to us goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. So and I know that we did give away some scholarships this week, right?
I gave away, like, I want to say a good 7 or 8.
Okay. So you all check your email. If you need a scholarship, all you have to do is just put scholarship in the subject line. We don't need, long diatribe. You're a utopian. We know you have scruples, right? And so if you say you need it, we know that you need it. And we have a list. We go to the oldest first, and as the money comes in, we give away the scholarships. All right, y'all. So that's how that goes. We've got a question from Javelin. It looks like Javelin Johnson. Are there any tips or suggestions for surviving a current toxic work environment as they plan to pivot into a job that aligns more with their purpose and passion? Thanks in advance.
Okay. First, recognize that whatever tips I'm going to offer you are short term. Okay. This is not long term, because I don't suggest or I don't offer anything because in the sense of do this long term. Okay. Because I really want you to make an exit plan to get out. So I appreciate you said as you plan to pivot out. Okay. So I would say therapy is extremely important. Because when you're in that environment, you need to have a space where you can confidentially speak to someone who is objective and who can help you reality test. Because when you're in that toxic job, they are often gaslighting you so much that you start self-gaslighting yourself. And you're like, did that really happen? Did I really do that? I don't know. So therapy is very important. You also need to be very mindful of not venting to your coworkers. Okay. As much as you may want to, very mindful of not doing that. As you were exit planning, be very mindful of not telling anybody at your job that you were exit planning. You need to walk in silence like Harriet did. Okay. The other thing is, I always think about channeling your inner Harriet. So think about, what would Harriet Tubman do in this situation, right? So how can you channel that inner Harriet? And then I also have a YouTube channel. I forgot to mention that. So my YouTube channel is Lifting as We Climb Consulting. That also might be helpful for you, because on my YouTube channel, I have also talked about not only my journey, my healing journey of leaving a toxic job. I've talked about the grief process after I've left a toxic job. Yes, there's a grief process, which is hard to believe, but yes, it is. And I've been very vocal about that. So I talk about it somewhat openly, but I talk about it a lot more in depth. I have a private butterfly community for Black women on my YouTube channel. So that might be a space to hear more about what is that like. And then I also interview Black women every Sunday on my YouTube channel at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific time. So you can hear the experiences of Black women who were able to leave toxic jobs, pivot out, do well. They have resources, services, but I want you to hear from so many Black women who were able to leave, because I don't want any Black woman to feel alone. I don't want you to feel like you're stuck. I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, I just have to just stick it out. No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay. And so again, every Sunday, there's another Black woman who's going to tell you her story. And sometimes you might need to see so many different Black women tell their stories for you to kind of get the courage, because it is so scary. It's terrifying. Actually, it's terrifying to leave a toxic job. Even though you can't stand it, it is terrifying. And I have these lives every Sunday at this time, because that used to be the worst day and time of the week for me. Because when I was at the toxic job, the Sunday scaries would come Sundays at 5 o'clock. It would be like this dark cloud would come over me. Like, oh no, I got to go back to that job on Monday.
Ooh, I remember that. Ooh.
It was terrible. It was terrible. So for me, like now, like every Sunday, I'm like joyful, because I know I'm going to talk to another Black woman. And I know that, I have a community and we're like talking and we're vibing, and, Black women are like, oh, this is so helpful. And so again, those are some resources that might help you. But again, I would say therapy is really key. And also, let me say this, be very mindful of, outside of the job, who are you talking to about your experience? Because you have to be mindful of who is in your circle. So evaluate your circle. You might be telling people around you, oh, I hate this job, or this is happening. Now, if there's people around you who are like, oh, I'm so sorry that's happening to you, they're very supportive, keep talking to those people. But if there's other people around you who are like, girl, that's a good job. All jobs are toxic. You just need to just stay with that job. Girl, you better not leave a job, you're going to end up homeless. Those people, don't tell them about this. Don't do that, because they're projecting their fears onto you. So I'm quoting Glamazzini, who says, check the tree before you pick the fruit. Okay. So if those
Hello.
people are miserable in their lives and they're in a toxic job, don't tell them your business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. Don't check the roots before you pick the fruit, which is biblical, right? It's biblical. And the other thing about that, Jovelyn, is one of the reasons why it is so terrifying to leave these jobs is because we are not prepared with our FU money. And
Right.
so in Beyond the Bling, we also talk about how you make sure that you are putting together your FU money. So when when you get to the point where you're like, you know what? These people can kiss my black ass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You've got your FU money,
Mm-hmm.
in this day and age, I'd say at least a year's worth of living expenses so that you can find the next step to bringing in income. Okay. Whether
Mm-hmm.
that is deciding, you know what, I'm going to take this year to start generating other income streams on my own, or I'm going to need to find a job while I'm doing it, whatever have you. But you got, again, it's not just about how much money you make. It's also about how much money
How
you
much you
spend
spend?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what percentage you spend. Okay. Hello, Dr. Kamani.
Hi.
Can this virtual summit provide more suggestions for passive income streams for retirees?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to be talking about multiple streams of income. So we're covering the gamut of ways to make money. Okay. So we have, in addition to the regular summit, we also have 3 bonus sessions just talking about money. Okay. So that's one of that's the platinum tier of tickets. Okay. So we know how important it is for us to be financially secure. So in terms of income, so you might want to check out the platinum tier of tickets when you look at the website. And I see in the chat somebody talking about the anti-HR lady. She is one of our speakers as well, talking about severance. So some of you may be in some situations where you might be able to get some coins as you are exiting out of a toxic job. So the anti-HR lady is one of our speakers as well. Actually, she's been one of our speakers for 3 years in a row.
Oh,
So, yep, I love her. I follow her. All right, I was just marking these other questions, and then we'll continue on. Okay, let's see. This may be a comment. What gets me through my toxic job is knowing that I'm leaving America. Okay.
Yes, yes. When you have an exit, when you know there's an exit, psychologically that helps you out so much. Like when I knew, like towards the end, when I was like, okay, I'm planning to take a leave of absence, right? I'm not telling nobody, but I'm gonna take a leave of absence. And I knew when I was on a leave of absence, I'm never coming back here. That helped me just a little bit, so just a little bit better.
It does. I think when you have a plan,
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, I need to have if something is happening in my life that I don't like, I need to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
And when Rick and I when we got serious about FIRE, that's financial independence, retire early, y'all. Now, obviously, we wasn't retiring that early, but it's early if you didn't think you could retire. So no shade. Anyway, once we got on that bandwagon and we had that mental shift, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I could see the light at the end of the tunnel with the math. Yeah, that toxicity was not as poisonous.
Yeah.
I could just let it drip off a lot
yeah.
more easily
Mm-hmm.
because I could see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
That's for
Mm-hmm.
doggone sure. That's
Mm-hmm.
for doggone sure.
And let me say why that's so important, Halisi, is that, I think many times we underestimate how damaging these toxic jobs can be in terms of not only physically, right? Because I just think about my blood pressure was spiking. I gained so much weight. My hair was falling out. I was getting these really bad nosebleeds. I mean, it was physically a mess, okay? But psychologically, right? And so when you talked about the impact, the depression, the anxiety, the helplessness and hopelessness. When you have a sense of hope, when you have a sense of, oh, I have agency now. Wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I have control over my life. This job is not, right? Okay, I see a future now. Because when you don't, now you're in this depressive kind of state, the spiral. And we see what happens when people get in that spiral and they feel like they can't get out. That's why it can get so serious. So I'm
Yeah.
glad you mentioned that.
Yeah. It makes a difference to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why do people see the shift coming but still don't move?
They feel helpless. It's like learned helplessness. It's like nothing I can do can make it better. That, and they feel like it's that, and they feel like all jobs are toxic, right? They feel that I don't know what to do, so they're like paralyzed by fear, so they just stay there, and they feel like they don't have any options, literally. And like I said before, that perception that that job is the only place where they can make money,
Yeah.
which is ludicrous,
Yeah.
Because I always say that as Black people, if you get a job, you are probably overqualified. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't pass out jobs to us. They don't pass out jobs to us. So more than likely, we are overqualified because when we think about when we come into the job market, most of the time we have to overperform, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we all have transferable skills, but many times we don't think about the transferable skills. We only pigeonhole ourselves in terms of that particular job, but we have a lot of different options, but we don't think that way, right? So it's a lot of the mindset issues. And then the next part is the how to. How do I do this? I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start. And I'm so overwhelmed with everything else I have to do. I don't have the time to start researching about how to even do this. I don't even
Right.
have the time. So that's why the summit has everything all together. So you don't have to go on Google and YouTube and try to figure it all out. Everything's all together.
Yeah. And that does make a difference, y'all. Like I tell folks, you don't have to join Beyond the Bling. You can watch all of our videos and you will get Beyond the Bling if
Right.
you watch all of our videos.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want it organized for you
Yeah,
and everything
streamline.
in one place and all of this stuff, then yeah, and streamlined, right? With then you're going to have to go ahead and join. You said something. I never thought about this, but why do you think people have grief
Oh,
after leaving a toxic job?
it's a lot. Okay, so one, generally when we come into a job, we have some dreams or expectations about the job. Okay,
Mm,
and so when you leave the job, it's grieving. Those things won't happen. Those things won't happen. So you grieve that. You also may be grieving what happened to you. Okay, so that you may
mm,
be grieving. Maybe there were people that you met at the job that betrayed you. So grieving that. Or maybe there were people at the job that you were cool with and you liked seeing them every day. And you all were laughing and kiki. Like these are really people you're cool with. You're grieving not being in a relationship with them like that.
right.
Maybe you're grieving the identity of having that job. So there's a lot of different things that you might have. And so even after you leave, that you still might have memories about the job. You
Mhm.
might even grieve, like for me, I used to work with kids, right?
Mm,
And so I grieve. There were certain things that I did working with kids that I don't do anymore. I don't do anymore. And so that's part of what kept me there was that I thought, oh, well, I won't be able to do this anymore. Right. And so I had to say, wait a minute. First of all, I have to think about self preservation, right? Because I can't keep doing this for this because I'm a shell of a person for my own kids. Okay. And so
right.
I
Right.
have to make a choice. The other thing is once I left, what I realized was, well, I may not be able to do this for these kids, But what I am doing is something at a much bigger level for kids. So it may not be the same thing, but you're able to do something at a much bigger level once you're able to release the other thing that's harming you. You may not be able to see it at the time, but sometimes you got to walk away when
Yeah.
something's harming you like that.
I think, as you were talking, I was thinking that, gosh, almost all of the jobs that I've worked at have been very toxic. Not all, but most, right?
Mhm.
Especially when, I did have the privilege of working on jobs where I was part of the majority. Those jobs weren't toxic. They weren't. Like I got to work on some all black television shows and stuff like that. And all black television shows tend to have all black staff, or
Mhm.
at least the majority black staff, especially back in the day. So, uh, uh, just, you just like, you look forward to going to work,
Hmm.
right? And then there's the opposite.
Hmm.
And I think one of the more toxic jobs that I had, in thinking about the grieving, is that it hurts your feelings. Like the way you were treated, when you look back and think about it, it's like, why did they treat me that way? Like
Yeah.
I am deserving
Yeah.
of decent, and they're just so mean and
Yeah.
petty and this.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the grief. It's like your feelings get hurt.
Mhm.
And I think the other part that you mentioned, but I don't think gets enough attention, especially with us, y'all. When
Mhm.
I say us, I mean we black folks, is that how much of our identity
Yeah.
is wrapped
Just wrapped up
around
in it.
what
Yeah.
Right.
we do,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the titles we have,
Yeah.
and the letters behind our name, and
Mhm.
all of that stuff. And so one of the fears, you say, you mentioned, loss of identity, but I want
Mhm.
to reiterate that, because I don't think people pay enough attention to that within themselves. Because
Mhm.
if you introduce yourself, hi, my name's Halisi, and I'm a doctor.
Right. And you're in social situations, right? Like you're not even in a work situation. Like, why are you always telling people what you do? Yes. Mhm.
It might be hard,
Mhm.
you know it might be hard to give that up, because who am I if I'm not the executive director? Who am I
Right.
if I'm not the senior vice president of whoop-de-doo? Who
Mhm.
am I if I'm not practicing? Like, doctors are always doctors, attorneys are
Mhm.
always attorneys.
Mhm.
I suppose doctors have to keep up their license the way attorneys and CPAs do. I don't know, girl, I don't know, but let's just assume that they do. So,
Mhm.
you're always going to, like, you can't take the knowledge away, folks. They
Mhm.
cannot take your knowledge away.
Mhm. Mhm.
But if you, and to me, it's usually when your self-worth is wrapped up in what other people think of you.
Mhm.
And when your self-worth is wrapped up in what other people think of you, you're probably
Mhm.
spending too much money as well.
Mm.
Mhm.
And so, even right, because you got to have the Birkin bag, right? Like,
Mhm.
you can't have the $600 Coach bag. No, you have to have the $5,000 Birkin bag.
Ooh. 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 Well, that's part of the masking, right? That's part of the masking. So part of the masking, part of what people might think is healing is, well, I'm gonna look good. I'm gonna look good. And they spend a whole bunch of money looking good, but that's part of the masking process. It doesn't look at inside, they're dying inside, right?
Mm.
But then they're getting in more debt, which makes them have to stay at the job longer because of their maladaptive coping response, as opposed to looking at what the core issue is. The toxic job is harming you.
And
Yeah.
it's a vicious circle.
Yeah.
There's something that Stephanie used to say. I don't know if she said it lately, but she said, boy, some brilliant stuff comes out of Stephanie
Uh-huh.
Perry's mouth, boy. I'm telling you. But she said, for those of you who, walk into a room and people say, yeah, because it's social as well, right? And people say, oh, so what do you do? Because in America, that's all they say. So what do you
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Right. And then you don't say what you do, you say what you are, right? You don't say, oh, I practice law. No, you say, I am
Mm-hmm.
an
Mm-hmm.
attorney, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know deep down inside, even if you don't want to admit it, that there's a certain thrill that you get because everybody can sit through 3 more years of school and put up with that shit and don't want to, right? Like, but there's a certain thrill. Everybody can't pass the bar. So Stephanie would say, what else can you think of that will give you that same feeling?
Mm. Good point.
Right. And so for me, because I cut my trajectory when Rick said, I want to be gone by the next election. And I got recruited to take my boss's place. And so
Mm.
we were already setting up how I was going to take her place
Mm.
within the next year or to
Mm-hmm.
9 months to a year. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, yeah, I want to be out by the next election. Now, I thought he meant 2022. He meant 2024, but I work in politics. There's an election every year. So the next election is this November, baby, right? So we out. We out. And so I had to cut so my vision of, being so such a much and being the chair of this, that, and the other just got stripped away.
Mm-hmm.
But thankfully, I was listening, and Stephanie said, what else will give you
Mm-hmm.
that same feeling? What else will give you the same feeling is buying that Birkin bag,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, the Birkin bag turned into, a stock, Apple stock. What are Birkin? I can't remember what the overarching. That's not Hermes. Is it Hermes that makes Birkin bags? I think it's
I
Hermes.
don't know.
Stock in Hermes. I'd rather have stock in Hermes than a Birkin bag. You know what I'm saying? Literally when I'd see that ping, stock has just been purchased. I say, ooh, I get that little thrill. I would get that little thrill. And then when it comes to, not being chair of such and so, right? What else? When I started picturing myself living in Europe, Rick and I taking walks on the Atlantic Ocean on this side of the world, and having lunch in Paris, and all of this and that. Shoot, I
See,
don't need
that's
to be chair of nothing.
yeah, see, that's an example of the difference between when you value internal validation over external validation. Because when we keep looking for external validation, that's when a job has control over us, right? And that's when
Mm,
we're in a dangerous situation. So we have to focus on what makes us internally happy. Relationships.
yeah, yeah,
Relationship. That's what's most
yeah,
important, or hopefully that's what's most important for us. Like being in community with other people, our friends, our family, not a job. It's like because they like dangle things over you, right?
Mm.
And so
hmm
they know the people who are like will just step over anybody for a promotion or who work 24 hours a day. They know that you're constantly seeking external validation. So yeah, so we have to be mindful of that. And they know that that is really a mask that you're deeply insecure. They know that.
yep,
They
yep,
know that.
yep. And it's almost like they're all working in cahoots, right? Like
Yeah.
the commercials that we see, it's all about lifestyle, and it's all
Mhm.
about this lifestyle of the rich and famous. Remember that
Mhm.
show, Lifestyles
Yeah.
of the Rich and
Yeah.
Famous? Like,
Yeah.
why do we give a F? Because they want us to aspire to having a
You're
bunch of
never good enough.
stuff,
You're never good
right?
enough.
That we don't need, right?
Mhm.
So we can become mentally unstable, like all
Mhm.
of the billionaires are mentally unstable. Dr. Kamani, you are a licensed clinical psychologist?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Tell me that these men and the few women billionaire are not hoarders. Don't they operate just like a hoarder?
Well, yeah, because it's like, how many more billions do you need?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Like it is crazy. And they just keep, and they're just like, I mean, it's like a fervor. It
Yeah.
is a fervor that they just can't seem to get out of that, like, gotta have more, 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 more. Thank you, Tashika. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate
Thank you.
you.
Yeah.
Tashika says, after working in one toxic job after another, I need a breakthrough. Seriously, I have looked back and noticed it. I am working on therapy as well. That's good.
Good.
The
Good.
abuse I went through back then, I will no longer tolerate.
Good.
Girl, I'm telling you, one of the things, age, FU money and age makes a difference, because it's like I would, and and listening to the Gen Zers, because they don't put up with shit
Oh,
either. They do not
or
put up
millennials.
with
Millennials either.
anything. Millennials too, especially the
Uh-huh.
younger millennials. They do
Mhm.
not put up with it. And
Yeah.
so I started listening to them. I started listening to, but then some of it is like, I'm 50 years old. Like, don't come at me as talking to me like I am just out of college. I'm
Right.
sorry. Like, I would have
Right.
put up with that at 22 years old, 23 years old, because I still kind of felt like a kid. But I'm
Hmm.
50 damn years old.
Right. Right.
So no, I'm
Like, who
not
are you
going to ask
talking
for
to?
permission.
Like, who are you
Right. I'm
talking
Right.
to?
not going to
Right.
ask for permission to take a vacation. I'm not going to ask for permission to go to the doctor. I'm not asking for permission to do life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
days are over. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I will give you notice that I'm doing these things.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
will have to accommodate me accordingly, or I can find someplace else to work.
Mhm. Mhm. Elise, I
And
want to go back to something you talked about before about, the pain of when people treat you a certain way, right?
mm,
Because there's another layer to that is when people conspire against you.
mm,
And when you find out that people conspire against you, like people are like meeting with you and but you find
smiling in
out
your face.
and you find out later they have been conspiring against you. Like that can mess you up for a while.
Yeah.
And the job that I was talking about, where I was like, they hurt my feelings, they were conspiring against me. And so they decided this was the first year that they were going to institute peer to peer reviews.
Oh, oh,
Exactly. Exactly. And so all these white girls were talking about, well, Halisi's always rolling her eyes and she always has an attitude and this is that and the other. And they came to me with that bullshit. And I was like, yeah, I have an attitude when I'm doing other people's work.
ooh,
That's number
ooh.
one. Number two, so and I said it sounds like that there is a cultural disconnect. Because if I'm smiling and rolling my eyes, I'm being sassy, not complaining. But like, if you've never been around a black person, you might not know that. Apparently, I said it. Like now, I was in my 40s when then late 30s, 40s, because I just like I'm not.
You made me think about Jack Nicholson. Remember in A Few Good Men? You can't handle the truth. Like you're asking me for the truth, but you can't handle the truth. Like, why are
You
you
cannot
asking me?
handle it, right? And when I had the exit interview for that job, I'm telling you that I let it all out. That oh, you want an exit interview? That's what you want. Oh, okay. We're going to talk about it then. Right. And all of the stuff that I was blamed for, I said, and it's really interesting when I said the next year when we did the project and the partner said, let Halisi run with it and do it her way, there
Okay.
were no issues.
Oh.
But when y'all wanted to, tell me how to do it, there were issues.
Mm.
Said all the stuff. I said, and I resent that. And then you made me do X, Y, and Z and a performance plan and all that bullshit.
Oh.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, the whole
But
nine
the
yards.
client liked what you did, but then they put you in a performance improvement
So they put me in a performance improvement plan when the fit hit the sham because I wasn't in charge and everybody's hand was in the pot and stuff was getting effed up with the project.
plan. Wow.
So yeah, so the next year I said, look, I'm not going to do this unless it's done my way, and this is how it's got to be. And,
Mm.
and then everything was fine. And I brought that up. I said, see, and that's what I was telling you that year, but y'all wasn't trying to hear that because white women always know. White women always know, right? Like it doesn't matter what you say, because they always know what's best. And they ain't trying to listen to you, right? They are not trying to listen to you. So yeah, Allison says, when I gave my notice, I could feel the stress leave my shoulders. And I really don't think some of us realize how much our body is holding on to this
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, absolutely.
I worked
Absolutely.
I worked for Eddie Murphy Productions for about, how long did I last? Maybe 6 months. Maybe. From like week 2 until I quit, I had lower back pain that was so bad. I was in the jacuzzi, I was getting massages and, everything else. And I could not figure it out. I was only like 25, 26 at the time, right? So when I finally quit, it
All
went away.
gone.
And I was
Wow.
like, I'll
It was
be
that job.
damned. It was that damn job.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Mm-hmm.
that damn job.
Mm.
So, a better life wants to know how much is the platinum package.
Yes. So actually, I said it's the premium package. Sorry, it's actually the premium package. So it is $297, and the premium package includes the live. It includes the replay for a whole year. And it includes 3 bonus sessions talking about finances. Okay. So the standard pass is $77. So that includes the live and access to the replays for 1 week. The premium pass is $297, and that includes the live, the replays for a year, and the 3 bonus sessions. And then this year, Marissa Price and I are going to launch, first time ever, an accountability circle. So this is for Black women who need extra support. So either with their exit plan, their pivot plan, or creating multiple streams of income. We're going to have 6 coaching sessions over the course of the year. That's the Accountability Liberation Circle. That is $997, and that will be meeting again 6 times over the course of the year. I forgot to say something too, that at the summit, there's a privacy consideration. So summit attendees will not be seen on camera. Again, summit attendees will not be seen on camera. Only summit speakers will be seen on camera. Also, summit participants have an option of attending anonymously. Okay.
Mm. Yeah, because you don't ever know who else is on. Heck,
True.
your boss could be at the summit too. you know,
That's true.
Low key, right? wait, wait, Kimani, was that you? Did I see you in the break in the room?
So true. So true.
Shoot, you never ever know.
You
Oh my
never know.
gosh. I'm looking for these questions here. I remember like I when I was at see, I used to work politics, right? And so we go to the Congressional Black Caucus and you see who's there. Who's there who's not running for office? Well, who's there who you think is running for office? Then you can see, okay, what's coming next? Also, who's there who works for like an organization, a lobbyist? Oh, what you doing? Oh, you out there scoping up a new job. That's what you doing.
Ah,
That's why you here, right? So yeah,
ah.
yep. Oh, and your boss is here looking for a new job. Okay. Uh, is this only for Black women, or do you have something for men as well?
It
A
is only for
better
Black
life.
women, the live. However, the replays will be made available after the summit. And so Black men will be able to purchase the replay.
Good answer. Good answer. I say, don't you have a Black woman you could buy this for and just
Oh,
sit back
that's
in
a
the
big deal.
background, and
That's
just be in the
okay.
background?
Okay. Totally see. Okay.
I'm just
I
saying,
like
because
that
that's
answer better.
right, right. That you can
So
ask
true.
you can ask questions through your sister. You can ask questions through your wife. You can ask questions through your mama, your friend, who's a black woman,
So
right?
true.
So, all right. I had a black woman supervisor that just wanted to please the boss.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, the issue of all skin folk and kinfolk comes up all the time on my channel. I have a playlist called All Skin Folk and Kinfolk, and I can't even cover all that, all the videos that touch on that topic, right? So again, on my YouTube channel, Lifting Up Through Climb Consulting, that is a frequently covered topic. And unfortunately, a lot of us suffer with internalized depression. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I just
yeah,
want to just acknowledge that.
yeah. So, at the summit, is there gonna is anyone talking about income streams that are borderless? You know, that will offer someone the opportunity to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah, Krishan Wright.
Oh, good.
Yes,
Oh, good, good, good. So, that's Blacks at Global. Y'all know, friend of the channel.
yes,
Is this for retirees as well?
absolutely. It's for any Black woman. I'm serious. For any Black woman anywhere in the world. That question came up as well. We've had Black women tune in from everywhere.
Yeah, especially because we're going to be talking about income streams, right? And so, Benita, you know what we say over here at our Black Utopia, that no one should have only one income stream unless you are a billionaire, like hoarder, like like the Broligarchs. You need more than one income stream, you know, because things are a changing, y'all. Things are a changing, and we cannot depend. We can't even depend. And this is especially. I'm going to keep reiterating this for the utopians. Do not depend on that pension. Do not depend on that Social Security check or that VA or veterans, you know, however veterans get paid, right? That kind of pension. Don't depend on it. I hope we can depend on it. But the melon felon is melon felonin, and he's doing whatever the hell he wants to do. And so this notion that this is a government pension, I did it, but look, that's assuming that somebody's going to be following the law. That's assuming that somebody's going to be following the rules. And we cannot depend upon that. There are laws in place that protect private pensions, but they're reactive, right? There's some things that are proactive, but that's we got the fox in the hen house right now, y'all. We got the fox in the hen house. We know that the Department of Justice is not going to do doodly squat about, you know, them doing, you know, Enron type bullshit. Right? So let's hope for the best, but let's plan for the worst. Okay. And so if you are a male person of the male persuasion, this can be an opportunity for you as well, right? Because every one of you have females in your life. So you can take advantage by gifting this to someone and then make sure that you guys are in the same room during the summit.
And I also want to add, thank you for saying that, Halisi, because you can support a Black woman attending the summit by emailing support@liftingupthroughclimbconsulting.com. I'll put that in the chat as well. So again, you can sponsor a Black woman coming. And Halisi, I'm wondering, as one of the summit speakers, if you can share what you're going to be talking about at the summit.
Well, I'm doing a panel, right? So I'm not speaking just on my own, y'all. So sorry about that, but I am I am being featured on a panel, right? And we're going to be talking about investing, right? And especially investing during retirement. So investing is an income stream because it is creating cash for you, y'all. Now, whether you choose it, but it's not an income stream for today. It's an income stream for future you. And I think a lot of times we're overly optimistic about the resources that are going to be available for future you. And I don't want you to be overly optimistic. I want you to be very, very pragmatic about the income streams that future you will need. And it is, it's really easy. It's really, really easy to do that stick your head in the sand thing, right? And be overly optimistic. It really is. But the fact of the matter is, if this last year and a half has not taught us anything, it should be that anything that we thought before, any norms that we depended upon before, we can no longer depend on. We can no longer depend on. Now, does that, well, some might say, well, doesn't that apply to the stock market as well? Yes and no, because all of the people who are above all of this stuff, their money is in the stock market as well. Y'all know that we also talk about having your money in different currencies and investing in companies that are not as dependent upon America and or not housed in America. So all of these tactics, right, can be part of your strategy on how you're going to make sure that future you is living just as well as you today. So Dr. Kimani, as we start wrapping up and getting these last questions in, what do you think is the first thing that someone should do this week if they're on a toxic job? And what's today? Sunday. And they're about to start getting those Sunday jitters. Oh my gosh. Dr. Kamani, I would literally, not every week, but some weeks, just start crying.
Mm-hmm.
I would just start crying. I would just sit out there and I would like just boo hoo. Because I could not see a way out.
Yeah. First, I would suggest to pause and honor how you're feeling and connect to how you're feeling, right? And connect to, why do I feel this way, right? And engage in some type of behavior that will help you feel better in that moment, okay? Just talking to a friend, a family member, playing with your dog, whatever it might be, right? And then start thinking about, what is one small step that you can take that might make your life better in relation to exit planning? If it is, you know what, I need to look into therapy. Then start thinking about, do I already have a therapist, but I haven't been going to see my therapist? Then circle back and make a therapy appointment. If it's, you know what, I need to start looking into therapy, well, maybe you can contact your EAP at your job and see if you can get a referral to your EAP program. That's a free option for you.
Can you explain what an EAP is?
Sure. That's an employee assistance program. So I'm going to talk about some few options about getting a therapist, right? So you can contact the employee assistance program through your employee handbook, and it should indicate what your benefits are through the employee assistance program. So you contact them, you let them know, I need a referral for mental health. My understanding is that these are confidential services because I am an EAP provider for some of them. So you contact them, they'll tell you how many sessions you can get. And so that might be, again, short-term relief, okay? So as you're getting some type of support with, okay, I need somebody to just reality test with. So as you are in therapy, the hope is that you are also doing things to think about, what are the small steps I can start doing to help me start exit planning if you're still in a toxic job, okay? So if it is, do I want to start working with a coach, or do I want to go to the virtual summit, that you actually start looking at possible coaches. Now, be mindful when you're looking for a coach, you're looking for somebody who has proven track record in getting you to where you're trying to go, okay? Not somebody who talks a good game, okay?
Right.
But
Right.
somebody who you actually see can get you to where you're trying to go, okay? Or or come to the summit, okay? Now, in terms of therapy, I'm going to talk about some other ways for therapy. If you have insurance, you can contact your insurance provider and you can say, I'm looking for a Black woman therapist. And then hopefully they can find you some referrals. If you want to go on your own and try to find a therapist, they have online directories through Psychology Today or Therapy for Black Girls, or they have other online directories, Black female therapists. So you can look on their online directories and you can see, okay, what are the specialties that they work with? What area codes, zip codes that they, work with. Now you have to work with a therapist who is licensed to work in your state.
State.
Okay, in your state. So be mindful of that. And you want to work with a licensed mental health professional. Psychology Today often does have video footage of some therapists, like 15 seconds or so, where the therapist is talking, so you can kind of get a feel for the therapist.
Right.
Also, therapists do offer free 15-minute consultation calls. So you want to get that consultation call. You want to be able to talk to them, just see kind of like what are they like? You know what I'm saying? And you want to see like, okay, so what is it like to work with you? What are your areas of specialization? Okay. And then ask them, do you accept my insurance? And if you don't, what is your out of pocket fee? Now, there might be situations where the person says, I don't accept your insurance. However, you can contact your insurance carrier and you can ask them if they will allow for you to work with out of network providers.
Mm.
And if so, will they reimburse you if I provide you with a super bill? And in that situation, you would pay the provider out of pocket, and then you would give the insurance provider a super bill, and then the insurance will reimburse you.
Right.
Okay. So therapy, I would say, is really, really, really important. And also, as I mentioned before, really check your circle because that is a key component in terms of support that you need. And you just do not need people around you who are projecting fears around you. You need people who are uplifting you at this point. You don't need other people gaslighting you, and you don't
Yeah.
need that. You don't need that.
Yeah.
So you need people who are just like on your side. Okay. So if you have people around you who are projecting fears, then utilize your boundaries and just tell them, like, if they say, how's work? Oh, it's okay. I'm managing, I'm dealing with it, and you tell the people who are supportive of you, girl, I'm struggling,
Right.
but
Right.
don't tell those people who have been telling you to stay anywhere that's harming you.
Yeah. And sometimes that may mean a family member.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
all of you, if you're watching and you believe that this information is important, please hit that like button. Okay. Smash the like, let the algorithm know. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you
Hey,
for the
Dennis.
super chat. Treat jobs as a means to an end, Dennis says. People should think about their career like it's their business, right? If a corporation doesn't offer what you need, uh, lay them off then. I think that's what you're saying. Lay off the corporation, keep one foot in and one foot out. Corporations need you until they don't. So you can do the
So
same
true.
thing.
So
And
true.
it's true, right? Like they want you to give 2 weeks notice, but they don't be giving you necessarily 2 weeks severance,
Not at
2 weeks
all.
plus. They don't necessarily do that.
Mm-mm.
So, and there's no law forcing them to do that either.
Mm-hmm.
It
Right.
is right. So, these jobs ain't loyal. The jobs have not been loyal since I've been an adult.
Mm.
They might have been more loyal when my mom and dad were in the
Mm.
prime of their earning years.
Mm.
They're the silent generation.
Mm.
When people still had pensions and stuff like that, and you still had a human resources department. I mean, a personnel department as opposed to a human resources department,
Mm.
right? Where it was about investing in their workers as opposed to, because human resources just sounds like exploitation.
I'm so glad you said that, Halisi. I just had an aha moment because a lot of times parents will tell you things based upon their experience in the workplace, but that's when personnel was about, you know what I'm saying? I had a different perspective, right? But when we're in the workplace, human resources is all about protecting the company. I'm so glad you
Exactly.
said that.
Exactly, right? We're just a resource, we have the wood, we have the steel, oh, we have the people, we have the all expendable, all to be exploited, right? It's a whole different mentality. And we allowed this to happen, y'all. We allowed this to happen. It did not have to be this way.
Mm,
It did not have to be this way. It was not this way before. There was a time when the workers had power and the corporations were afraid of us,
mm,
right? But then we started not paying attention, getting fat and happy, and then allowing them to use their money to buy politicians again. And then here we are.
mm,
Here we are.
mm.
So thank you, Dennis. As y'all know, 100% goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling, which is our financial freedom program for late bloomers like Rick and myself. Oh, okay. So Benita retired as a school principal. Whew,
Mm.
Lord. My dad, his third career or whatever was, he was a teacher in LA Unified.
Ooh, that's our work.
Oh my goodness. Um,
That's the first time I publicly said that.
like the stories that he would come home with and not just the kids, yes, but the administrators and bureaucrats as well. It's this crazy environment.
Yes.
Allison says, I keep thinking what my brother always told me: I am not a doormat, nor am I a punching bag. I know that's right.
Mm-mm.
I
Mm-mm.
know that's right. So Tace or Tase says, hi, everyone. Will you all be discussing prospecting for clients at the summit?
You mean like how to get clients?
I suppose so, yes.
Yeah, in relation to like starting your own business, in some ways, yeah. I mean, I don't think that we'll be talking directly about like that topic like in depth, but we'll be talking about that in relation to starting your own business. Yes.
Okay. And we in the Side Hustle Challenge, the next cohort is starting in a couple of months, y'all. Okay. And so start with the Liberations Summit. And then when you want to get really deep into how you nurture clients, nurture customers, and all of that stuff, and bring your idea to scale, you need to join the Side Hustle Challenge and be a part of the cohort. It's 10 weeks from idea or from where you are now to launch or to growth. Okay. And it's pretty in depth. And we talk deeply about the marketing side. So for those of you who don't know, before I did politics and even the in between time, my job was to help small businesses grow. That's what I did. And then the in between, which is kind of interesting, I mixed politics with entrepreneurship and started helping businesses transfer ownership from privately held to employee owned. So I was democratizing capitalism and then passing laws to make it easier to transfer ownership from privately held or publicly held to employee owned. And so that was how I thought I was going to change the world, is to democratize capitalism. But the Boligards ain't about that life. They could have done that. They could have done that with Uber, right? Like they could have said every single driver gets a piece of the action. You get a piece of the profits. You're a profit participant, right? Like they could have done it that way. They could have done it that way. And how much better would it have been for everybody involved? But no, they're just greedy. And it's not like they could, never would have occurred to me, because Chobani is partially employee owned. Red
Oh wow.
Mills, yeah, Red Mills, the grain company, they make everything from grits to flour, organic. They're employee owned. So yeah, they
Hmm.
can't act like they didn't know. It was just announced today that USPS suspends contributions to employee pensions after warning of cash crisis. These people are so full of shit. Do you think that this is a prelude to employees having their pensions canceled? Look, Wanda, this is a prelude to the buttholes trying to privatize USPS. Do not allow that to happen. We live in a place where their public mail system was privatized, and it sucks. That like one of our Portuguese friends said, like they privatized it now it would have been about 10 years ago. And he said, and I haven't gotten a letter since. It like they be, oh my gosh, they'll pretend like they dropped something off and they'll take it down to the main office, y'all. So what this is about, very, very quickly, Wanda, is that the Republicans, in their bid to try and privatize USPS, they are holding the trust, the pension trust for the United States Postal Service to a higher standard than any other pension trust. And they're doing that to try and force them to basically, quote unquote, claim bankruptcy, which is hard to do because they're basically a private-public partnership, right? That's what this is all about. And that's what the cash crisis, they're making them keep like 80%, something crazy, when the average pension has like, let's just say 50% or 60%. I don't know the exact percentages, but that is the case. I do know that they are holding USPS to a much, much higher standard. So, but yeah. So what if they succeed? Anybody who's depending upon that kind of pension is going to be SOL. Again, we got to be creating these other income streams. We cannot depend even on something that should be so guaranteed, like a veteran's pension, like working for the post office, right? And these government jobs. Benita says she used to be a principal. That's going to be under the state, right? I can't remember which state. It might be Cali or whatever. So that's going to be some kind of para under a state government. Some states are almost insolvent. Like what was it Kansas? Was it Kansas that was insolvent? They stopped taxing something and then they had to basically claim bankruptcy. They were going to have to shut down their public universities.
Oh my goodness.
And all of this. This wasn't that long ago, y'all. This is the dumb shit that Republicans do. Democrats do other kind of dumb shit. But they do know how to govern. And you see all of the blue states, they're not insolvent. They're not closing down universities and stuff. The poorest people are in red state. You cannot make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. So yeah, I mean, Amazon, was it Amazon that just laid off 34,000 mid-level managers, right? I mean, they are not playing, and some of them they're having to hire back because they know that AI is not ready. It's not up to the task. It's not at Skynet level yet, y'all. We're not at the Terminator level yet. I keep hearing the USA economy is a Ponzi scheme. Is the USA broke? Yes, it's broke. The feds have already said that it's insolvent. We cannot make the next interest payment. And it's only insolvent because the Mellon felon and the Epstein class refused to tax the Epstein class. That's why. It doesn't have to be insolvent. Social Security does not have to be insolvent. USPS does not have to be insolvent. But, the Epstein class, they need another yacht. So we can't have health care. The Epstein class needs another personal jet so they can keep fucking up the atmosphere while they try to build bunkers and go to Mars. So, yeah, we broke. We broke. And so y'all, that's what I'm saying. You're depending upon Social Security. You're depending upon these government pensions. And the United States is insolvent. If this were a private household, they'd be talking about bankruptcy. They'd be talking to somebody saying maybe we should file for bankruptcy. That's how effed up the situation is. So Allison says, I'm not sure what RMD means.
Hmm.
Was this something that you said? Is this an acronym that you used?
No.
Allison, who are you talking to, baby? Who said RMD? Give us give us more information. Is there an itinerary available for the conference? It should
Yes,
be on the website.
it is on the website. It is
Mhm.
on the website. So the
Okay.
kickoff is on Friday evening, and the kickoff is with the 3 Black women researchers of Pet the Threat. So this is the first time we've ever had this. So Pet the Threat is when you come into the workplace or you're sought out in the workplace for your outstanding skills, and you are the pet. They love you. Police, oh my God, you're so wonderful. You're saving us. Oh my God, you're so wonderful. You're the pet. And then Halisi starts outshining people in the workplace. And then there's a shift and there's a push out. She's a threat. So we're going to have the 3 Black women researchers, first time ever again, Pet the Threat. It's going to be a fireside chat that Friday for the kickoff. And then we're going to have a sound bowl healing. And then Saturday and Sunday will be all day. We'll have lunch breaks and different breaks. And again, it's recorded. So if you're not able to be there for the whole time, it is recorded. So yes, the itinerary is on the website.
I've never heard pet to threat, but oh my gosh, is that not so true? That same job that I was talking about, I was the pet until I was the threat, right?
Exactly. And it's like this, boom. You're like, what just happened?
Wait, right? And it's interesting because they had approved this white girl that they were going to pay for her to go to business school. And I'm like, I don't go to business school too. You pay for it. So I talked to them about paying for me and why I wanted to do it. And the partners, they looked at each other like they'd already had this conversation, and they basically told me, well, since we told Home Chick we pay half of the tuition for her, then we have to do it for you. But just know, once you graduate, you will not be considered for partner.
What? Wow. So
Mm-hmm.
punishing you in advance.
Mm-hmm. So,
Ooh. Ooh.
okay. Okay. I wonder, did you say the same thing to the white girl?
No, of course not. Of course
Right?
not.
Right?
Ooh.
Right? And the white girl never finished. She didn't make it past she made it past a semester, I think. I think.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
right, hers was an executive MBA. Mine was a traditional MBA. I finished, she didn't.
That's not funny, but oh my God.
Right?
Wow.
Because of course the black woman finished and the white girl didn't. Right?
Wow.
Right? Right. And the white girl
Ah,
got all these complaints, all
wow.
this whining and complaining, and she rolling her eyes and all this other nonsense. And it's like, you know what? You maybe need to just pay attention to you. So better license. Of
You
course,
know
I
what?
do,
You know
Halisi.
what? It's an example too of like many times in the workplace how we are treated. It's like the slave kind of thing too, of like as a black person, like you should just be grateful that you have this job, and like, oh, who are you to ask for this? Like who are you, black girl? Even though you're a black woman, who are you, black girl? To ask for this. It's like that kind of same thing. Like, oh, we're gonna put you in your place, right? So, oh, okay, so you can ask for this, but don't you even think that you're gonna try to get partnered? Then you know what I'm saying? It's the same kind
Exactly.
of
Hmm.
mentality, that
Hmm.
slave kind of mentality. Yeah.
So I changed my emphasis.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, you can go ahead and pay for it. And don't you know, when I graduated, when I came back that Monday, they laid me off.
Oh, stop it!
Yep. They gave me they
Wow.
so this is what they said. They gave me 3 months. They're like,
Wow.
we don't want to hold you back. Now that you've got a master's
Oh.
degree, you
Oh.
need to go out there and let that master's degree work for you.
Oh, ultimate gaslighting. But guess what? They paid for your degree.
They pay for part of it,
Part of it.
50% of
Okay.
it.
Okay. Well,
But
thank
still,
you.
still,
Thank you and
still,
goodbye. Okay.
exactly. So then they
Oh,
said they gave me 3 months, and they said, okay, so you can work. We'll continue to pay you for 3 months, but you only have to work 3 days a week, and you can use the other 2 days to find, to go job hunting and stuff, and to do networking meetings. I'm like, cool.
wow.
Cool.
Wow.
Because they knew they probably had a lawsuit, right? The only time they offer you stuff like that is when they know they could be up for a lawsuit.
Right. 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 They try to make it seem like it's really good for you.
Uh-huh.
Oh
Uh-huh.
my gosh.
Yep. And I took all that time. I took all that time. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. But yeah, if they start offering you a lot of stuff, y'all, it's probably because they know they put themselves in a position where they could get sued. Now,
Right.
I don't know how much suing you can get done today with the DOJ that we have, especially if it's at the federal level. But at the local level, yeah, still. Okay, so I guess A Better Life is saying, of course, he's got females in his life. Oh my gosh. All right. Tashika. Thanks again, Tashika, for the super chat. This is two. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Which is why I love that Sankofa bird. I have realized a lot of looking back over realized a lot of looking back over the years. We've got to, right? So that we can learn. Because if we don't look back and bring our past with us, right? And in under a microscope to examine and to inform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we will be making the same stupid mistakes and stuff
Exactly.
like that,
Exactly.
right? Which is why I love the Sankofa bird. So that's our avatar for our members, Dr. Kimani. I don't know if you
Okay.
can see that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Karen
Wow.
Louise,
Thank
thank
you,
you, thank you,
Karen.
Wow.
thank you. Thank you so much. We haven't seen you in a while. Have you been traveling, girl? You got to let us, sister, know. Let us know where you've been at. Maya Angelou said, each of us has the right and responsibility to assess the roads which lie ahead. And if the future road looms ominous and the roads back uninviting, step off that road
Ooh.
in another direction.
Ooh, I
That's right.
love that.
Utopians begin
Yes.
now to forge a new direction toward freedom. Rise up. I love it. I love it. I
Mm.
love it, Karen Louise. Let me tell you, if there is going to be something poignant to say, Karen Louise is going to be the person to say it. If there's going to be something uplifting to say, Karen Louise is going to be the one to say it. She is that utopian. We missed you.
Yes, we did.
We miss you and we thank you so much. As y'all know, if you're just now logging in, 100% of our donations goes to our scholarship fund for Beyond the Bling. That's our financial freedom program for late bloomers like ourselves. Like ourselves. Okay, I think we did it. Let's start wrapping up. I'm going to go make sure that we've answered everyone's question. Dr. Kimani, wrap us up. What do you want to leave us with?
I also wanted to mention that the summit was mentioned recently in MSN. And I put the
Okay.
link to that in the private chat. I'm wondering if you could post that.
Okay, I'll grab that.
And I just wanted to remember
Wow.
that, right now, there's been chaos and confusion for a long time, right? And so we have to remember that as a people, that we've always found a way to make a way out of a no way. We've always done that. And that we have to remember right now that we cannot panic during this time. We can't do that right now. And we have to be very strategic and we have to plan. We have to plan. So when we think about the situations that we're in, we have to recognize that we have resources available. Our Black Utopia has wonderful resources available, that we have community, that we are in community right now, that we heal in community. So we need to continue to be in community, and that we recognize that we have agency. So we might feel stuck, and I understand that. We might feel stuck. We might feel that we can't make changes, yet we can, okay?
Mhm,
It might
mhm.
feel scary because it is, but we have to move forward, because when we don't move forward, that's a choice too. And so the fear is a normal reaction. It is normal to feel the fear, but I want you to know that you are able to move forward, that there's resources available for you to move forward. If you are a Black woman, I invite you, Marissa and I invite you to come to the Job Liberation Virtual Summit for Black women, which is for Black women who are not only in toxic jobs, but also Black women who've been laid off or who have some concerns about job stability during this time. You will be learning about how to replace your income, whether this be if you want to pivot to another job and or create your own business. Also about how to identify your options for your health insurance, your benefits, and your retirement benefits, as well as how to create multiple streams of income. As a reminder, as a privacy consideration, no summit participants will be seen on camera. You have the option of attending anonymously. Only summit speakers will be seen on camera. If you would like to sponsor a Black woman to come to the summit, you are able to do that by emailing support@lifting as we climb consulting. Again, the summit is May 1st through the 3rd. There are different tiers available. So the standard pass, the premium pass, and then the accountability circle, where you get coaching throughout the course of the year through 6 coaching sessions. So again, think about, you do have options. You are not stuck. So remember, we have agency. We have agency. And think about, as our ancestors, they had agency, right? And they paved the way for us to be here. And they would not want us to stay in any environment where are being harmed.
Exactly, exactly. I tried to post the MSN information in there. You guys, you might have to copy it. It's too many letters, and so you can only put so many letters in a chat. So it's part of it is in the second part of the chat. So you might be able to pause it and grab the whole thing. If you need a scholarship for Beyond the Bling, then you need to send us an email. Go to ourblackutopia.com to get our email address, and just put scholarship in the subject line. Okay. And you don't have to give us a story. Just tell us you need a scholarship, and we'll put you on the list. Okay. So that's how you do that. It's very, very easy. There's no no big deal. No big deal. So just a reminder for those of you who are tuning in a little bit late, we have the bomb meetup coming up. And here's the thing, you guys, you need to be in community with people who are like-minded. And that's what you get with the Job Liberation Summit. That's what you get by coming to our Black Utopia's annual meetup. It's always during the Juneteenth week. It never was supposed to be a Juneteenth celebration per se. It just so happened that this is the week that we picked, and this is about liberation. This is about freedom, right? And so we just got lucky. We kind of planned it around St. Anthony's, which is the Friday before our official meetup days, which are the 15th and the 16th. And so you'll be able to hang out with Rick and myself and other locals and other expats that are living from in other places around the world. Yes, we do get other people who are not necessarily considering Portugal. A lot of people are not considering Portugal who come to our meetup, hang out. We have the WhatsApp group, and just like there's the accountability group for the folks who are doing job toxic, trying to get over that, we've got a group too, right? To hold you accountable to do what you say you're going to do. You want to move out of the country. Everybody's not trying to move to Portugal. So we got some people who just got Uruguayan residency. Yes. And people are stacking residencies as well. And so they're still talking. The 2025 people are still talking to each other in the group, and the 2026 people are already in community in the WhatsApp group. So this is not something that you come to and then it's over. You now will have friends all over the world. Like Rick and I have friends all over the world. It is an amazing feeling to have, right? And so there's just Y'all got to see the video. If you haven't seen the video, you got to see the video. If you need help moving abroad, we've got the Move Abroad Toolkit. That is in the description below. Of course, you know about Beyond the Bling. That's our financial freedom program. If you want to support us, become a channel member. You can hang out with Rick and myself after or before we go live. We're behind the scenes, chitty chatting, talking about politics and talking about money. You guys can ask us questions. And so that's for every channel member. You can come behind the scenes in a private Zoom and hang out, ask questions, listen, skulk, do whatever you want to do. And the legends come on air with us. All right. They come on air with us every other Thursday. All right, y'all. We will see you on Thursday. Is that the next time? And that's going to be a Legend Thursday, right?
Yes, it is.
All right. We will see you on Thursday. See y'all.
Bye.
Not a dream, a destination. Our Black Utopia.